Well, good morning. It's John Neal here. It's Tuesday, the 26th of August, 2025. And today, I'm going for a bike ride, but I'm also going to give you a little introduction of how I make these videos, because somebody asked. Yeah. Here we are. Lovely. Well, I'm just going on a regular bike ride today, but I thought I'd just show you the mechanics of what I do. Somebody was asking how to make a vlog, how to start it. They wanted to do similar to what I do. I had a go once a week ago, but I overdid it. But basically, you just pick up a camera, point it at yourself, or stick it on a tripod like now, and that's it. But there's one or two things initially I think you've got to get right, and the first one is the microphone, because and this is a relatively cheap option. This is a Sony recorder. Oh, that's all it is, and it's on a wire. So you can get wireless ones, but they can be quite expensive. You can pay plus 100 quid for one and clip a wireless mic on and have the recorder somewhere else. But I'll just stick this in my pocket. This seems to work well. It's also got a little foam top to it, and this is crucial because if you've got a camera out in the outside, the wind can cause havoc with the sound. And to make the sound better for two reasons. One, you don't want the wind hitting it and making it a noise and annoying, so that's why this covered mic is very good. And secondly, you can walk away from the camera. And in fact, do I need to demonstrate that if you walk a long way from the camera, the microphone on the camera isn't sufficient to do the job? It's okay when you're fairly close. In fact, I could even use it now. Let me just try that. No, it'll be wireless. The microphone on the camera might be useful, but generally speaking, if you've got the mic clipped to you fairly close, you get the best sound. And to be honest, a video is as much to do with the sound as it is to do with the visuals that you get on with. Right, so let me just show you this little arrangement here. So you can see the main camera, the GoPro, which I use for the most part. I'm filming this now with my iPhone, but the GoPro is on a tripod, a really nice tripod actually, a new one I've just bought. If you remember, a video I did earlier was a bit rattly, so GoPro over there, and I'm not using the mic at the moment. I'm using the microphone off the, or am I? No, I am using it. And I'm using the microphone over here that's clipped to my shirt. So this is the arrangement for the most part of the way I do it. And if I'm on my bike, I'll hold the camera with this closed in and then just hold it and point it slightly towards me. This is nice tripod this, and hold it like this. Okay, so that's where you do it. I've changed now to holding the camera, so it's the GoPro is so stabilized, even if I turn it right over like this, which if you could see, I can't put it on the other camera. I'm tilting the camera right over left and right, but it still holds the horizon straight, which is really remarkable. I'm sat here in the church entrance at High on the Hill. What church is it? St. Peter's? St. Margaret's Church, Stoke Golding. No, that's the other one. I'm reading something off the wall here. St. Peter's Church, High on the Hill. I was right the first time. Because it's nice and quiet and there's no wind. There's a bit of wind outside, but it's not a problem in here. It's a bit echoey, but it doesn't matter. The other thing is to get the light correct. In fact, I can see now that it's a little bit weird looking, but if I go out into the sunshine, very nice. And try not to squint like this at the camera, that's no good for anybody. And the other one is, if you put it the other way around and you put the sun right behind you, you can't see my face. I'm just a silhouette against the bright sky. Although I have to say, looking at the footage now in my office on the screen, the GoPro is managing this extremely well. So keep it with the sun onto you, which is general photographic principle anyway. And then I think the main thing is to just tell a story. Because the video you do is a story. Say what you're going to do. I'm going to go on a bike ride, and I'm going to tell you how to make a vlog. Simple as that. If you want to know, I'm going to go to Wykin and Stoke Golding and round and back this way, no more than that. And I'll stop off in places and just explain a few things that I'm doing. Otherwise, you know what? That's it explained. There's nothing more to say. I think what I do then with the videos to make them more interesting, and you can develop this over time, is to first of all get used to talking to a camera, which is a bit weird, and listen to the dogs in the background. Morning. And then just sometimes break up the visuals with other things which might be more interesting. For instance, I'm just looking up here. The sky's turning blue, for goodness sakes. But if I just suddenly whip the camera around and show you the church, it looks really quite pleasant, and I could edit that little bit of footage in. Also, I'm just noticing there's some flowers down here, so I'll just try and see what I can do. Let's just get the camera straight and put the camera down here, and there's a bit of movement of the flowers. Not quite sure what they are actually. I could make some use of that. And you can move around a bit. I mean, it's not a hard and fast rule about having the sun behind you, but I know if I go here, you're not going to see my face as well. So if we're moving past that, that's all well and good. And I wouldn't make too much of one shot either. I feel like I've said enough now. I'm going to stop and change the scene. So let me do that. Let's stop here, jump on the bike, and head off to Stoke Golding. Here for a different shot, I put the GoPro on the ground completely, walk past it with a flower in the foreground, and of course, yeah, you have to come back and get the camera. And then if you want to be really clever, you can do these little shots of going through the gate, opening the gate handle and getting on the bike, and then riding past the camera, both towards the camera and away from the camera. And, oh, by the way, here's a piece with the wind interference which I was talking about, which sounds horrible. And now for a change, here's just a general shot of the road that I can see and me looking at the road, and all set to music. Then I pulled off the road and went next to the canal, and some lovely sound effects. Listen. It's always nice to pull into a little location off the route that you're on just to see what's here. And the sun has come out, which is lovely, and now I've come off next to the canal here. This is one of the things to see. For instance, look at this lovely bit of reflection of the sunshine on the water. It's a filthy old canal, but the reflections are always very nice. So there's that which is interesting. And here's another one here, the ripples of water in the wind. As you might be seeing the trees up here. Let me just take a shot of that. Now this would play havoc with the microphone on the camera, but with my microphone clipped to my shirt, it works, I think, I hope, much better. That looks lovely. Just those moments where you would stop and look and think, oh, that's nice. And let's hope if a car comes by, it doesn't bang its horn, which I always think a bit unnecessary. Well done, he didn't. The other thing I think is useful, and this is the next stage of making these videos, is to understand the videography, and that is the framing, the photography, if you like, of what you're looking at, and composition and so on. So if I do have a look at my bike here, I can put it smack bang in the middle, that's okay, but if I go slightly to one side, that's, I think, a more interesting scene. And you've got the pathway leading you into the frame, and it's nice to have it sort of here, not in the middle, but in this third, and in this third, and pop it down that corner. You can use any of those points, up here, up and down here, but it's not smack bang in the middle. I think it looks nice. And also another popular angle is to frame. We've got some lovely leaves here on the trees, and they make a lovely frame. That green boat in the middle works very nicely, so it's sort of framed with this, which makes it look more interesting than just like this, well, there is no frame. So that works well. Yeah, it's lovely down here today. So there are these little photography tricks, and I'm thinking about these, about how I would take them back into my office to edit the video. So I see this, oh yeah, I'll be able to slot that scene in somewhere. And I'm slightly further back from the bridge. The sunlight and the trees is really quite nice. So that's a scene I might try. Steve, learn video online. I'll put a link at the end. Absolutely brilliant instruction for taking videos of all sorts, travel videos, vlog videos, just making better use of your video experience. The framing, lines in, all sorts of stuff, interesting angles, low down. The other one, which I'm still getting right, and I just watched another video about it, was trying not to walk and do this, which happens a lot when you're walking along. But one thing is to hold it steady and do a really slow, this is difficult to get right, an effective pan around like this and then reveal, a little bit like that. Right, let me, that's enough of that. Let me jump back on the bike and carry on up to Wykin. The 360 camera, which is fantastic, and on this new tripod, which will give them longer than this, it really gives an impression of somebody being in front of me with a camera and me following them. This is a more specialist thing going on, I suppose, and since my right hand is holding the mono rod pod, tripod, monopod, yeah, I've got to stretch across and change gear with my left hand. Right, but it's easy enough to swing round with this in the edit. Wykin Village, here we are, because as you may or may not know, the 360 camera does what it says on the tin, and it takes a picture of everything all the way around, left and right, up and down, back and front. So you can pick and choose which bits you want to bring into the edit, which takes a little bit of fathoming out when you're back in the office in front of the computer editing it. Hope it's not waving around too much. Let's change gear. Right, up ahead here in this hamlet of Wykin, I'll be turning left. So let me do that. And I do know it's sometimes best to do one clip after another, so I'm going to see if I can just turn this off. This road from Wyking to Stoke Golden is one of the prettiest in the area. I then pulled in further down the road so I could show you how the 360 camera can track me going round a corner. Quite clever, this. Here I am just talking to the GoPro camera, and you can see the difficulty of the wind hitting the microphone on the camera. You can make a shield to go over. Oh, I have a shield to. I've got a big foam one that goes all over the GoPro, but it's a bit weird. But no, I'm just stopped here because look, blackberries, loads of them. Look at them, lovely. So anyway, look, here's the 360 set up on the corner, so I can come down here and along this road, use the 360 in the edit to follow me all the way around this curve, which I think will look quite nice. So here I come round the corner and I can make the edit follow me round. Clever, eh? This is a voiceover done back in the edit, and here's me with a lot of wind noise, but we can do better than that. Let's play a bit of music. Well, this is one of my favourite routes, and now the sun's come out. It was actually starting to rain a bit earlier. It's absolutely gorgeous. Always another cyclist. Right. Wow, love it. Unfortunately, on the right here, they're doing some house building, which is a bit annoying. Making a lot of noise, if nothing more. But with the 360 I can swing round now and show you the name Stoke Golden, and then come round back again. Of course, there's one more camera I've got up my sleeve, so to speak. Oh, look at that. There's about 50 yards of stoppage. Not stopping on that red light for no particular reason. Yes, I've one more camera I can use, and that is, of course, the drone. Yeah. Well, here I am in Dadlington on what is Pete's Bench. It says here, Peter Robert Shaw died 28th of December 2007, so it's nearly 20 years ago, aged 61. Oh, makes me feel mortal. I'm 70 odd. So he died 10 years before I got this far. Anyway, I usually sit over on that bench over there, but there's two fellas cutting the hedge over there with a petrol driven hedge trimmer, which is a bit noisy, but not to worry. And there's a bit of a breeze coming by me, so I'm using the clip-on mic. There's a little bit of acorn and oak tree leaf in the way too, which I think adds a little bit of interest. I hope it doesn't knock the camera out of focus. And the one thing I was about to say was, yeah, I've got a drone as well. So I think I can set the drone up here. I was going to do this on a previous video 6-8 months ago, and for some reason it didn't come together. So if I get the drone out, I should be able to give the good folk of Dadlington, I'm sure they wouldn't mind, with an aerial view of their village. and the sun's out. It's all nice. Yeah, let's do it. Well, I'm going to make a good use of this little scene here. Beautiful willow tree here, and a dappled shade underneath. Absolutely super. So I'm going to stop now and call it a day. There's some drone shots for you as well. 360 camera, the main GoPro camera, which to be honest is my favourite. The 360 is okay, but there's a bit of extra work to do in editing afterwards. But if by chance the audio doesn't come out or it's not appropriate, you can always do overdubs back in the office, which works quite well. Yeah, so if you want to start and do a vlog like this, get a camera. You can do it with an iPhone, which is what I started with, and you can even use the microphone on that and start from there. That's perfectly adequate. But the more you do, the better you get at it, I hope. And the more you can learn from looking at other ones. So I really enjoy doing it for the creativity of the videos as well, as much as letting people know where we are. So that will do. Okay. You know what? You will see me next time. Okay. Bye-bye.